For Saved, I was wanting to look at the idea of healing as an ugly process. And the way that I chose to approach that was through the concept of like fire and brimstone evangelical conversion. A lot of beautiful ideas are encapsulated therein, and also a lot of pretty ugly ideas and extremism and fanaticism. So just looking at transformation and moving through and using that as kind of a vehicle, I think. You know, I don't even know how I'd describe this. When people ask me like, what is it? I'm like, I honestly don't know what to say. It is meant to have a sort of an approach of like veritas, or to I guess have the vibe of something that is like a document, and in the documentation, thinking about the documentary style and what is edited out and what we choose to leave in, and how that can transmute a vision in a way. So it really was not supposed to sound like a completed, beautiful, masterful record. It was supposed to sound like something that had occurred a long time ago. Nobody really could say when or why, and that had just been found. It's supposed to sound kind of like found sound, field recordings and that kind of thing. So yeah, I guess just having this attitude of whatever happens, whatever errors there are, whatever failures there are, it stays in the record, I guess. In the studio, we kind of set up constraints or a set of circumstances that would maybe allow for that kind of experience. And so Seth Manchester, my producer and my recording engineer, and my good friend, he was like, well, let's put you in the studio and blast other people speaking in tongues at you for 90 minutes and see what happens. And we tried that. I tried sleep deprivation. I tried fasting a bit, and just kind of allowing whatever needed to be exhumed to happen, I guess. And so what you hear on the record is actually one unedited portion of maybe 2 hours total of speaking in tongues or glossolalia. It was really strange. It was really pretty dissociative, and you kind of just, or I was able to just kind of let my brain go and let language and the brain kind of act independently or something. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but it definitely felt like releasing something. I think throughout my work, I've tried to take stories and different allegories and kind of put them in the context of my own experience. And so I think this is probably another way of doing that. And yeah, it's definitely not autobiographical or intended to create any kind of religious or anti-religious fervor or anything like that. But it's, I really did want to just kind of grasp the kind of unwieldy emotions that would come with conversion in this respect. That's a very good question. I don't know. There's just something about it that I find really fascinating. I think the ideas of things that are absolutely evil or absolutely good are really interesting to me, and perhaps I at this point don't know if like absolute evil or absolute good is a thing, but that and all of I think it is like the absolutism of it and of like biblical imagery that I find really interesting. And you know, a lot of the language surrounding Christianity is really is quite beautiful and poetic, but again is also or can also be pretty horrifying. So those contrasts and juxtapositions are really interesting to me. I've always been drawn to like things that have kind of sharp contrasts within them. I have found that, yes. I have found that like both sides of the extreme have gotten something from it. And there's been, like I do have, or with this record's brought in some people who are very into Christian ideology, and seeing that is interesting. And then seeing also people who are very anti-Christian ideology is interesting. And there was actually there was recently, I think a Jesuit magazine or something wrote a nice piece about my work, which was like, it was really thoughtful and I wasn't expecting it. So yeah, it's a really weird space to be in.
Do you mind it? Like,
no.
You don't.
Yeah.
Because I guess I could see maybe people feeling like their work is being either pulled one way or the other, and not maybe wanting it to be associated with something. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. But I think there's enough ambiguity in it, and the ambiguity is pretty intentional, where I'm not requesting or requiring people to have to elicit any kind of particular response. Your experience is going to dictate what you hear, and I'm fine with whatever it is that you end up hearing, I think.